Hey, BassGeek here, and today we're going to be doing a review of the Okuma Hakai. That's right, today we start a new review series. We're going to review a lot of things. We're going to give them what I call the angler test review, the average angler review, okay? So what I mean by that is we're going to test things that every single one of you guys out there do when you pull a new reel, a new rod, a new bait out of the box, and then we're going to take it out on the water. We're going to fish with it, use it, look at it in the water, and we'll finish the review a few weeks, maybe even a few months later when we can tell you what we think about it in total. So we're going to have the out of the box reaction, and then we're going to have the on the water reaction. And we're going to do this with a 5-star rating system. We're going to dig into what we see and feel. That's how we're going to rate it, just like you would. So we're going to compare apples to apples. You'll see a list of top 5s, and you'll see how each reel stacks up to the others in that same exact price range. So this is a $169 price range reel. We're going to put it right in that $150 territory retail, right there in that $150, give or take $10. We're going to stack it up against a lot of good reels, a lot of good reels in this price range. So let's see what we think about it right out of the box. One of the very first things we do when we pick up a reel is we put it in our hand and we feel the weight. The weight of this reel is impressive. It's super light. I think it's somewhere around like 5.8 or 6 grams. So it's super light. It feels very nice. I'm going to give this thing absolutely 5 stars on weight. They've kept the weight down. I really, really like how light this reel is. So one of the things that they've done is they've really smoothed out, kind of protected your magnetic settings. And I will tell you, that thing is tight. It's tough to turn, which is a good thing, especially at this price range. But feel in hand, I can tell you this reel, I've got pretty good size hands, but feel in hand, it feels great. Good smooth side. Doesn't bother me. My finger wraps around nicely, so it feels great as far as comfort goes. So we're going to give it a 4.5. We'll give it a 4.5. Now we're going to talk about, does it feel cheap or solid? And I'm going to tell you the one thing that kind of stands out to me, that kind of bothers me. I've tapped on this, I've pressed on this, it flexes a little bit. It's plastic. Now I know they spent a lot of money on the spool, really developing the spool. They've done a lot of things to it, and it is pretty incredible as far as that goes. But you can tell, to keep the price down, maybe they've spent money here and cut costs there. So I'm going to say probably feel, as far as like, when you get it out of the box and you feel it and you're like, oh man, that's durable, versus, oh man, that's kind of cheap feeling. Now this doesn't feel cheap, but I will say I'm gonna have to give it 3 stars. So the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how tight this feels. When you work it around, do you feel gears shaking in there? When you reel, are you getting any play backwards? How tight does the drag? Is everything really just machined well? How does the drag feel when you move it? How does it feel when you click it? How does all that feel? How easy is it to open up the side? And by the way, tell me that ain't cool. Now it's tight. That is tight to get loose. You may have to back off the brake over here, back off that drag a little bit. That is what you want in a reel right there. So what I can honestly say, there's no real play in any part on this reel. This is one thing that I really do like about Okuma reels. There's not a little switch or a little button or something like that. They slide right open, but they are tight enough to make sure you're not going to accidentally click them open. I'm going to give that a 5-star. This is a tight reel. It is machined very well. So far, I like it. Giving that a 5-star. Now, one of the other things that we check out is how noisy it is. Is it noisy? Is it quiet? I'll tell you right now, this is a super quiet reel. You know, clicks well, of course. Everything, like I said, is tight. And you'll probably hear a little bit of noise where I've got tape out because I've already lined it. This thing is super quiet. You're not hearing gears mashing or grinding or squealing. This thing is super quiet, and I'm going to give it a solid 4.5 for how quiet it is. Now, last but not least, man, we gotta look at it and think it's pretty, right? It's gotta be pretty. Us guys, it's like, you know, this is my purse. This is my shoes, right? So it's gotta be pretty. Now, for the most part, I do really like the flat black. I like everything they did. I wish, again, right here, I wish they would have made that a flat black. Also, I know it gives it a little standout. You know, the little extras, you know, you got a little grip on the thumb bar, the little symbol on the tension knob. I like the way the star drag is made, and you've got a little line right here. So this little ring right here, I like that, but every time you turn it, you're going to be turning your drag. So, you know, I like it, but I don't like the effect of it. Love this part. Love this side of the reel. Love this side of the reel. A little more could be put in on this side of the reel, including the handles. I don't know what it is about that silver on this reel. I don't care for it much. There's something about these handles that I don't like. So aesthetically, it's a good looking reel, but it's not perfect. For looks, I think they can do better. I'm going to give it a 4-star. It's not an ugly reel. It's a good looking reel, but I'm definitely going to give it a 4-star. You're not going to see me give a lot of 5-star ratings out, boys and girls. But overall, that is what I'm going to give this straight out of the box. You guys put your opinion down there about what you think about it if you've got one straight out of the box. Now, let's put this thing on a rod because I've heard it's a caster. And let's put it out on the water. I'll see you guys in a few weeks, and we'll talk about what I think about it out on the water. All right, so now we're out on the water, guys. It's been several weeks. I've been fishing with the Hakai from Okuma, and I'm about to give you my on the water rating. The very first thing I want to talk to you about is the tweaks. Now, this has a dual braking system. For me, staying tweaked out where you want it. It holds really well. I mean, once you tweak it, unless you're in the wind or something like that, it doesn't seem to loosen or tighten up. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 stars, okay? So 4.5 stars on that. Seems to hold up very well. Now, as far as casting goes, this thing is a caster, guys. I will tell you right off the bat, if you pair it with the right rod, you're going to cast the lightest of baits a country mile. I'll have to give this, again, probably another 4.5. Could be a little better, but it could be a lot worse, trust me. It's pretty impressive. So now let's talk about retrieve. You know, it's not a specific technique. I've been using it on my jerkbait rods for the past few weeks, past month or so, really. The thing about it is, when we talk about retrieves, you know, when it hits, do you feel a lot of play in it? When you crank something back, do you feel a lot of extra gear mashing, noise, that sort of stuff? And I'll have to say, man, this reel is tight. It's machined very well. When I hit this bait, the reel isn't slipping or moving. Everything seems to be nice and tight. Again, hate to give them. I'm going to give it 5 on this one. I'm going to give in and give it 5. I really like this reel. So let's talk about the drag and kind of the brakes. That tends to be where a lot of bait casters skimp at. The drag is really smooth. Now, I've got it pretty tight. I tend to fish a drag pretty tight. But if you get a hold of a big bass in the wintertime, you know, that's pretty smooth. And I've still got this drag really tighter than it should be right now. So again, the drag so far has impressed me. The brakes have impressed me. So I'm going to give the drag another 5 out of 5. So guys, here's the final tally from all the scores. Now this is the first reel that we've done in our reel series. So how it stacks up, it's going to be number 1 because it's the only one, right? But as we do this series, you'll see at the end, we'll compare every single reel, rod, whatever the case may be. You'll see how it stacks up against the top 3 to 5 in its price range or category. Hope this helps you guys out. If you've been thinking about checking into the Okuma Hakai, as always, questions, comments in the comment section below. Guys, make sure you tell me if you've got one of these Okumas and tell me what you think about it. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you get those notifications when these videos come out. And as always, you guys rock.